My name is Trey Schadt, and this was service speech number 2 of 3 for COM 181. There are two types of people in this world. There are those that love to go to school, come home, and do all their homework. Then there's the rest of us. When looking at the outline for this speech, we were advised to speak on something that we feel like we're experts at and have a good understanding of. For me, that is procrastination. I am an avid procrastinator, and I believe that everyone procrastinates, at least to some degree. I think that the sense of instant gratification you get from putting something off is better than anything else. I can remember my junior year, I had a 10-page assignment that I had to do for one of my classes. The class was SCD 104, and it was a summary of all the different things we had learned throughout the year. The outline and the questions were made available to me about a month or so before the due date, and I had planned to manage my time well and work hard so I didn't have to do it all at once. But the first week went by and I hadn't started, and then the second week, and then before I knew it, the paper was due the next day and I hadn't even started. So long story short, I stayed up almost all night working on it, and then I finished it the next day at school during some of my other classes. And I turned it in on time, and don't get me wrong, I got a decent grade on the paper, but it wasn't near as good as it could have been if I would have slowed down, taken my time, and really worked hard on it. And I feel like I've noticed that this has become a pattern in my life. If I take time and really work hard on something, and avoid procrastinating, then I get a grade that I can be proud of. But if I rush and put it off, then my grade reflects that. So this offers the question then. If I know that I should manage my time better and avoid procrastination, why don't I? I like to think of this as a battle going on inside my head at all times. A battle between the reasonable thinker and the side of me that just wants instant gratification all the time. I think this is someone that everyone can relate to. How many times have you thought that it would be a great time to get work done, and then just pull out your phone and scroll through social media or Twitter, or try to distract yourself with something else? And this is an example of how instant gratification can control our lives. We put things off and try to go for the easy route, the route that will make us happy in the moment, rather than going for something that is going to be harder and in the end more rewarding. And I feel like this relaxed mode can only be turned off by one thing, and that is absolute pure panic. The underlying stress of any assignment or project you have to do is always there, but panic doesn't truly set in until your deadline is fast approaching. For example, if my 10-page paper hadn't have been due for another week or two, would I still have started on it when I did? No, I just would have put it off until my deadline made me feel panicked by it. We convince ourselves that instead of doing something that is hard, we should just take the easy route. And I guess you could say that in this sense, panic is a saving grace for people who procrastinate. That's not always an accurate description either. Think about waking up in the morning. You get up with plenty of time to shower, get dressed, and get to work. However, because you have that amount of time, you just think, I still have time to sleep in, so you hit your snooze button. And you do that again and again, and before you know it, you only have 10 minutes before you have to get dressed and get to work. Then you feel panicked. And that sense of panic can stay with you all day. It doesn't just immediately go away once you get to work. The problem with this also is that not everything in life has deadlines. For example, when you try to start your own business, there's no rule book or guidelines for it. There's no deadlines on spending time with your family or going to the gym and trying to stay healthy. Without deadlines, procrastinators can have nothing to force them to let the reasonable thinker side of them take over and take the wheel. People put off things like fixing their homes or getting a job until they completely lose their ability to. Procrastination can have a huge impact on someone's life in that matter. We also like to think that procrastination only affects the person who is the procrastinator. If I don't do my paper, who really cares? It's not like it's affecting anybody else but me. And that's not always the case. Most things in the real world and in most professions involve many people and many moving parts. For example, could you imagine working on a group project and really taking your time to contribute and work hard, only to have the guy next to you rush and do his part very poorly at the very last minute? And what would happen if a factory worker didn't do his job on the assembly line? That doesn't just affect him, it affects the whole company and everybody else working. Something that I find can help control this for me is whenever I think about all the people who have poured into me and helped me get where I'm at today. It is hard to slack off on something if others are invested as well. This is why when people depend on you, you either have two options. One, you can work hard and get what you need to done, or you can risk letting the people you love down. An example of this would be whenever I played football. A lot of my teammates depended on me for a ride to workouts in the morning. And that means no matter how bad I wanted to skip workouts that day or how comfortable my bed was, I still had to get up and I still had to make sure all those other guys could get there on time too. This idea helps to stop procrastinating whenever others are involved, but what about whenever it's just you? Motivating yourself can be a very hard job, whether deadlines are involved or not. I found that something that always helps me to be productive is being organized. I like to lay out my clothes for school the next day, and I also have a planner that I work at many times a day as well. I keep track of important dates and due dates that I need to focus on. I find that whenever I keep things in front of me, it helps me to work harder on them and be able to focus. In the long run, procrastination is a perfectly normal human behavior. However, we should never allow it to control our lives. We need to put away our desires for instant gratification and become reasonable thinkers. We have to realize that our procrastination has an effect on others, and remember to always try to be courteous and thoughtful to them. And when it comes to procrastination, I'll have to get back to you on that.